But that's how we generate referrals without having to ask for them.
So the big question is, what are the top agents doing to absolutely crush it in real estate, grow their teams, and add more transactions year over year while so many struggle? If you ever thought about this, you're not alone. No one has been able to get the answers until now.
We spent the last few years helping agents sell billions in real estate, rubbing shoulders with top producers, which got us thinking, how can we expose more people to these insights to help raise the standard in the whole real estate industry? We then realized that we could help bridge the gap by getting the secrets from the best of the best so that you can succeed. My name is Andrew Dunn.
And my name is Peter Michael. Welcome to Elite Agent Secrets.
Let's dive into your third and final. I think this is going to be incredibly relatable to everybody here, which is how building the layers of your referral business to build a bigger referral business, right?
Yeah, it's really interesting when people talk to me about getting more referrals, it sounds so very one-dimensional. I just need to get some more referrals. And my response is, from where? Because what people don't recognize is that there are so many layers or opportunities to be able to generate more referrals. Does it take work to establish all these layers? Right? Of course it does. Absolutely. I'm not Staples. I do not have an easy button for you. But the idea is that as you're thinking through these areas of opportunities of where referrals are just hanging out, waiting for you to do something with them, here's what I always tell folks. If you're working to build a truly referable business, then you need to have strategies, tactics, processes, procedures in place in a lot of different areas, but they fit in a couple of buckets. So one is, if you're already receiving referrals, what about getting more referrals from the people already referring you, your existing referral sources? So that's one plan we need to have in place, right? And that's getting more referrals from the people already referring you. Then, maybe you don't have enough referral sources or existing referral sources, or maybe you just want more referrals, so you need more people referring you. So what about those potential referral sources? Those people that you're like, oh my gosh, my life would be amazing, right? If I could just get a referral from XYZ, and then I would get more, right? And so then it's looking at it from that perspective of, okay, so what about potential referral sources? What's the process? What's the procedure to get a referral from someone who's never referred you? And so that's another layer to your building that truly referable business. So we've got our existing referral sources, getting more potential referral sources, new people to refer us. And then we've got this thing called our client experience, which you have one for every client who works with you, whether you're intentional about it or not. But within your client experience are typically what we call moments, or what we kind of refer to as referral hot zones, where there are moments within your client experience where if you have the right language or you're doing the right touch points that have the ability to elicit more referrals or the potential for referrals, because not every client will refer you. I don't care how amazing you are. But it allows you to start pulling referrals from the client experience, from people who are becoming new clients for you, or they've just finished working with you. Now they're an alumni client, right? I don't like calling previous clients, we call them alumni clients. But then okay, great. So now we can get referrals from our potential referral sources, from our existing referral sources, actually procedures and processes and moments within our client experience, right? We can also do other things that allow us from networking opportunities, or when we're in the buyer's journey with the prospect, right? There's all these different areas where when you have the right tools, you can truly build a business that allows you to be referable. When you understand the plans to have in place and the language tactics to use within situational moments. And most people are like, wow, that sounds like a lot. I'm like, yeah, but once you have that first quality conversation with a referral source to be able to actually get better quality referrals, you'll know it. And you'll just know when to pull it out of your toolbox the next time you need it. And that's what we're ultimately after. Some things are you just use them when you need them. And other things are plans that run consistently, in the back of the business, generating more referrals for you. But there are layers to that. And that gives you a holistic look at a truly referable business. And some of them are super easy and some of them take a little bit of work. But once they're all functioning, right, that's where, I was working with a real estate agent at the beginning of the year. She's coming up on the end of her first year with me. And she's an amazing agent, and she would get a handful of referrals a year, but not like the engine, right, she wanted. And so in her first, I don't know if it was like the first 4 months of the year or 5 months of the year, she got 11 referrals Like she didn't get that many referrals the whole year prior, or like actually probably could have added multiple years together to before she would have gotten to 11 referrals in like a 4 or 5 month period. And from those 11, because they weren't all perfect, but from the 11 she received following our referral plan, right? She closed, I don't remember how many she closed, but I do remember that it was $75,000 in commission.
Wow.
Right. So like the idea here is that there are hidden referrals hanging out in your business in all the places. You just need to put the process in place. But here's the thing for the agent who's listening saying, okay, I'm going to get me an existing referral source plan. I'm going to get me a potential referral source plan. I'm going to do this thing within my client experience and, within these situations with networking and buyer's journey and stuff. I'm always like, hold on. You do this one at a time. We never build all these things at once. We build one at a time, and we typically start with the low-hanging fruit. And for most people who have been in business longer than a year, so for you newbie agents, this may not be exact, but for most people who've been in business longer than a year, your low-hanging fruit are the people already referring you. And your number one task is to identify who those people are. And I mean by name, by a data dive within your business, like we're thinking Excel spreadsheets, right? Of who are your referral sources and how often do they refer? And what is your closing ratio per referral source? And on average, how many referrals do you receive in a year? And then come up with that master list of referral sources that you want to get more referrals from. And then we build a plan to take care of them. And that strategy is one of a number that I teach. But that's how we generate referrals without having to ask for them. We're just taking care of people, but it does start by identifying them. And then, of course, knowing the language tactics.
Yeah, I mean, obviously their own sphere is huge, right? So the biggest source for real estate, I think ironically, it's also the biggest reason for failure is the reliance on sphere of influence, which is essentially, our terminology for our referral base, right? And and how they're tracked, nurtured, and then, ultimately converted, which is a huge part of this. We've had numerous people on here who just make crazy money, like stupid from just their sphere because they work it correctly. They don't have this huge sphere of thousands and thousands of people. It's like, it's a few handfuls and they just work them really well. And we had Gus on and he was doing 30 deals a year from just his sphere. Like that's it. And he just worked them and they were just sending referrals to him. And he consistently did 30 deals a year for 3 or 5 years on the trot, just from working the same list. That's it. And then obviously the new people that came in and sold, they got added to the list and he just worked them. So there is a huge power there. I want to just, if you can, share before I know we're getting close to wrapping up here, if outside of current sphere, aka people they know might already be referring them business or are referring them business and kind of nailing that down, what would you say is the lowest hanging fruit with regards a new source that people could look into?
Well, I think it depends on how you want to develop your referral sources, because there's 2 answers there, right? One, of course, and I think it's the easier one, are actually clients. Turning clients into referral sources. But it's got to be, not every client will refer you, and only certain types of clients actually are out and about and connected well enough to actually know when those moments are happening. So we're not talking about every client. We're talking about a specific, well-connected type of client. And I don't mean I just mean they know a lot of people and they are connected to a lot of people and constantly connecting. There's the other thing with real estate agents about those strategic relationships that they have with and I talk about with every agent that comes into our program, this idea that the mortgage broker, right, or the loan officer or the home inspector. I'm like, no. They want referrals from you. It rarely works the other way around. It's looking outside of that sphere and figuring out, is there somebody else who has conversations with people prior to them making a big life decision like selling their home that would be worth it for you to really connect with and what that looks like. And so, and I think for some agents, depending on the market they're in, depending on where they are, depending on how long they've been in business and what their network looks like, sometimes it is people that you just haven't yet identified that are within your sphere, but they are the ones that need to be kind of nurtured a little bit differently to get you to the point of actually referring you. But here's the thing. Referrals only come from relationships. So you have to be willing to maintain relationship with people to be able to consistently be referred. It also means you don't need to have deep relationships on a referring level with hundreds of people. A couple of dozen will do it. So I always tell folks also to manage their expectations of where you think these referrals and these referral sources are coming from. Now, of course, if you want to grow a huge team, right, if that's important to you to grow a big team and you want to have a referral engine behind it, then obviously volume matters and you're going to look at that a little bit different. But for an agent who's like, hey, I will happily do 12, 15, 20 deals a year. I don't want to work hard to get any of those deals. Then it really is looking at, well, then who are the 2 dozen or so folks that are actually referring you every single year? And that's what I always tell folks that we want to focus on. It's that I know you're going to refer me this year, but I also know there's business from you that I can count on next year and in 5 years and in 6 years because you refer me every year. That's also an important piece to look at when you're kind of identifying referral sources.
I think that probably resonates with quite a lot of people listening with regards like if they could get to say 15 deals a year, the average commission I think in the US roughly is about $7,000 in GCI, I think, give or take. If you work on average median, so that'd be them basically being a 6-figure agent, which is over double what the average agent. The average in the US makes 44,000, which is obviously incredibly low. And I think that's obviously a big reason that most people stop because it's just, it's not enough to kind of live and feed a family and all that other stuff. So, what you're really talking about is, let's say 3 handfuls of people who nurtured very well could yield you a 6-figure per year income. And that would also compound because as you do those, say, 15 net deals a year, technically you've now got 15 clients you can add in as new referral sources. So your list of qualified referral sources would also be growing year over year. And, would basically the outcome could be you get more and more business, or you have the ability to refer the business out and take a commission straight off the top and not do the work anymore, which I know that is one of the paths out of real estate that people talk about, which is building a team, like you mentioned, and referring the business out and getting their time freedom back then. And they'd do it through a team. There's obviously other ways to do it, whether it's through investing and all that other stuff. But I think this has been great, Stacey. I want to now give you the floor. Obviously, you've touched on the fact that, you've got your book, you help people with the referral business and growing it. So tell people how they can learn more about you, get in touch with you, your company, learn more, free resources, whatever you've got to help all our listeners.
Well, you didn't give me enough time to list out all the things that I have. I'm going to need a whole section of the interview just for that. No, I'm kidding. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. Yes, the book is Generating Business Referrals Without Asking. I do think it is a great place to start for people to understand, because in the real estate world, most of the people who are going to teach you referrals are going to teach you how to do it by asking or by compensating, which I don't mean realtor to realtor, right? That's all good. But they're going to teach you to network, to know a ton of people, or the HOPE strategy. And I actually teach you a process where you can do this without having to ask, and you can stay authentic and like protect the relationships you have with people. So we have a program. It's called Building a Referable Business. We have some standalone programs that'll teach you any one of our strategies, but our over-encompassing one where you get to work with me on an ongoing basis is called Building a Referable Business. All of it can be found at StacyBrownRandall.com. That's Stacy with an E, StacyBrownRandall.com. And of course, my goal is just to help people who are in what we call like the best kind of referral-based businesses. So real estate agents are right there. I love working with them. They have some preconceived notions I always have to help them overcome when they're starting with me. But a great place to start, of course, is the book. And then, of course, you can check out our program as well.
Yeah, amazing. I completely agree. And that's exactly what we're here doing. Obviously, you get to share as much as you can in this kind of hour segment. But the reality is, we're trying to expose all our amazing listeners and get them to share this as well, because it's about, there is beliefs in the market. There is preconceived notions that are out there that are wrong and they do need breaking down. And that is exactly what we're doing here. Or that's at least what we're attempting to do, which is, hey, there's plenty of ways you can make money. There is genuinely a lot of ways you can skin this cat metaphorically. And, you just choose the ones that, fit basically the outcomes that you want in this world. So, Stacey, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on. I think we'll have to, potentially get you back on to deep dive into some more referral sources and go a bit deeper on some of this stuff. I think it's been really interesting. And it's been an absolute pleasure. So thanks for coming on with us today.
Well, thank
Maybe
you for having me.
jumping
It'd be my pleasure to come back.
Brilliant. Thanks everyone for listening, and we'll see you in the next one. Hey, thanks for listening to this episode. Now, before you go, we're giving access to a private training we did where we revealed the top 3 niches to get listings today completely for free. So if you want access, you can go and download that training at eliteagentsecrets.com. We're regularly releasing new trainings, guides and cheat sheets, so make sure to head over to eliteagentsecrets.com and sign up so you don't miss out.